A cop's house is broken into. In a twist, he gets fired. Why the Mesa Police Department says he went too far.
From 12 News, this is Arizona Nightly News.
A Mesa police officer fired, accused of forging and mishandling evidence from the burglary of his own home. But there are questions about how police handled his case. Tonight, the fired officer is talking to 12 News. Watchdog reporter Joe Dana is live with more. Joe?
Bram, this is a story you see from time to time. An officer of the law falls from grace, makes a mistake on the job, or breaks the law and becomes a criminal himself. But this 28-year-old cop says he's not one of those stories. He says he's innocent. He knows who's at fault, and he says the police department is making him to be the bad guy. It was a dramatic allegation against Mesa detectives that they erroneously accused their own officer of burglarizing his home and failed to actively investigate the true criminal. But that is what the attorney of Officer Micah Christ suggested early last year. Christ was an up-and-coming officer. At just 24, recommended for a commendation of heroism after saving a toddler's life. But Christ says when his East Mesa home was burglarized in 2011, his department turned on him.
The investigation was never complete, It's about 25 to 30% complete. They just jumped to conclusions.
One conclusion, alleged Micah himself meddled in the case. After he turned in a letter to police he said he found on the windshield of his parked car. It contained threats against cops. The signature suggested a neighborhood gang might be involved. But Mesa investigators determined the placement of palm prints on the letter matched Micah's hand, and they implicated him as the writer. Micah insisted he only handled the letter after he discovered it, but was not the author.
We had information on who wrote the note and, who was involved in all this. And we do have information that of who broke into my house. I mean, it's there, They stopped the investigation.
A grand jury criminally indicted the officer for forgery and evidence tampering, but the case was dismissed after a judge ruled the county withheld evidence in Micah's favor of a second set of fingerprints. Despite the failed criminal case, Mesa police moved forward to fire the officer, and in January, the Mesa City Council signed off on the decision.
When I was telling my side of the story, the council was falling asleep. They had their minds made up before I even went in.
Micah Christ says he's so embarrassed he doesn't want to show his face on TV because he has a new job. A spokesperson for the city of Mesa says they won't comment on this case. Mesa police also declined an interview. Micah says he's considering a wrongful termination lawsuit. He believes members of Mesa's police union will be on his side in this.
So Joe, playing devil's advocate on the officer's side for a second, is there any evidence the department may have targeted him for some other reason?
Right, maybe he was blackballed. That's the theory. His attorney argued that Mesa PD was using his false accusation as an excuse to purge him from the department because it came shortly after he reported having a serious medical condition. But that claim obviously didn't go anywhere. Clearly, the appeals board and the city council, they just don't believe this officer's story. And again, they're largely relying on the word of Mesa police.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.